Everybody
Fiacco, what's
on
going on with this Avinu Malkeinu stuff today? What's the deal with that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. What was the deal with it? What was I don't know.
Somebody told me about it. I was like, well, I don't know. I never heard of that.
No,
it was very cold. It was very cold in the tent, so we didn't say it today.
Part of it was Behab, I think. Part of it is because today was Behab.
But was it
mixed everything
COVID
together?
or because of voting?
Oh, I don't
Trump
know.
thing.
I'm not up
My
to date.
my son came home. Shiva said that he thinks it was because of the vote.
The vote?
Which caught me very surprised. Yeah, because
I heard the same thing.
I thought it was also because of the vote.
No, it was so that the yeshivas don't get. The way I understood is that the yeshivas shouldn't get closed down and everything should go back to
way
normal.
We're setting. Yeah,
meanwhile, Yeshiva Rockaway has 13 confirmed cases again.
Tell me about it. My kid's quarantined.
Sorry.
I don't get it.
Well, I thought this was the initiative of Aaron Kaplan and the cloud vote.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I just want to remind the Olam, 4 years ago, tomorrow night, when Trump won, everybody was going crazy. Everybody, what was the pasuk? Leiv, was it Leiv Melach B'Yad Hashem? Hashem controls everything. It's still going to be okay, even though Trump won. Everybody was crying that Trump won. What's going to be, right?
Yaakov, I was the first person to endorse him when he came down the staircase. I endorsed him from the first moment.
Not this guy. I was saying
my Purim costume 2016 was Trump shirt. No.
There you go. So you and Simon, that's why you guys get along so well. Well, you pro-Trump people.
That's why I moved to a red state.
So what are you saying?
What am I saying? What am I saying?
We'll be fine.
What the Rabbanul Shalom is going to do what the Rabbanul Shalom is going to do, and that's all. That's nothing to get agitated over, and that's all. And I mean, that's what. Again, I'm not here to preach. I'm nobody to preach. But bottom line is, just remember, everybody thought Trump won, and we are all done. We're all cooked. We're all moving to Israel. We're all done.
And the bottom line is, was the best thing for the Yidden, no?
Correct. And
where are all the cops going to be tomorrow night? That's the question. Where are the cops tomorrow night?
A second term with him doesn't mean he's not going to change, and doesn't mean it just because and whatever. That's all.
Yeah,
okay,
but look at the alternative, whatever. I should show you.
The truth is, the Milo with him winning a second term is that he'll make a bas mitzvah for an anikel by the Kaisel. That's big news.
I hear. Okay, listen, at least it'll bring Israel some money because they could use it.
Right, I'm saying, so that's big news.
I hear. All right, whatever it is. Listen, it should all be that Hashem should. But anyways, I don't think the Avinu Malkeinu was for the election. It was for that the yeshivas should open up and whatever. There's a lot of bittul Torah going on because of all this stuff. Yeah, I know. A health department guy called.
I think that's the same thing.
What?
I think it's the same thing. If Trump gets reelected, COVID disappears.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's hope either way.
My office said that any employee that needs extra time to process the results of the election should work with their manager to make sure that their essential tasks are taken care of, and they can take a few days off if necessary.
Are you serious?
Yeah, literally just came out, sent an email. HR sent out an email today.
I hope you take full advantage of that.
Burn the place down. It's time to make Aliyah because this world is just done. Mashiach's coming.
The bottom line is in the city, they're packing up for riots again.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Who's watching our
My father said they're boarding everything up. All the stores are boarding up.
I was in the city today. They're boarding up again.
Yep.
Wow.
The ladies that own the barber shop next to the kosher deli out here, someone asked, what are you going to do in case? It's like everyone's packing heat here. She pulls out her gun. Her husband pulls out his gun. All the chicks, the barbers are pulling out their guns from like their hip holsters. We don't care. Let them come.
Can I just pardon my ignorance? If who wins, is there going to be rioting? Or
both ways?
No difference.
Both ways. More riots if Trump wins. For sure, more riots if Trump wins.
Yeah.
Okay.
No riots when Jesse's around.
1 second. I'm still trying to understand something. There's a kosher deli? Come on out, Aaron. It's good too.
Gotta be the best line of the night.
And it's recorded. For posterity.
That's right. Okay, let's learn. Yeah. that's another thing that this community with this whole vote thing that the Langer that you with. I mean, that so few people in this community vote. That's a busha and a cherba. I'm sorry to say, that's a busha.
Agreed.
Right?
How sad is that?
That's crazy. It's crazy.
Ridiculous. You know how many people not even registered to vote?
Yeah.
No, that would be insane. Who doesn't?
I
register?
don't know. Are they letting
Yaakov, I'm working on the election. I'm working since 2002, every year except this year. And I have the same conversation every year with us, Bumi Pinta at the time, and Osina, and Altaby, and Good Friend, and Becca, everybody. I said, nobody comes to vote. Get them to come to vote. I mean,
you're very effective, Ramon. You're very effective.
So what's the number? What's the percentage of the how many people come to vote?
No, because then they know that they didn't have a say.
No, how many people? What was the numbers? I didn't see that.
I don't know. They said like, I don't know, 1,500 or something.
Aaron, but when it was needed, I got people to vote. My wife got the job, and we had health insurance for 5 years when I was at work. So yeah.
The largest amount was 2,800 for Phil Goldfeder. That was the largest.
And that's what, half? That's half of the eligible voters?
Not even.
No, 5,000 registered.
Yeah, so that's I'm makbid to take my kid. I don't think they're gonna let him in tomorrow. They're gonna let kids in. I usually go with my kids. Just we're going to vote.
Yeah, let them in. As long as you don't take out the camera. They get angry when you take out the camera.
Listen,
I always have to take out the camera.
It's a cheap night out. It's a cheap night out too, so don't worry.
You can only go till 9. They'll shut it down afterwards.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyways. Okay, so let's go. Yeah. So let's learn what should be a schus that everything should work out with Siyata Deshmaya. Okay, so Daf Pei Hey. What are we up to? Pei Dalet. Yes, there was Pei Dalet. Yeah. So we're trying to bring hard daf. Tonight's also the first part of tonight's daf is a continuation of yesterday's. So we're trying to prove the Shmuel that the case of the dirt. Right, we had a machlekes Rav and Shmuel, which we're continuing today, is if you have 2 yards that can access an eruv. I'm sorry, you have 2 yards and there's a wall in between the 2 yards. They each made their own eruv. They didn't make an eruv together. Who has rights to it first? So, or not first, bechlal. So according to Rav, if they both have equal way to access it, so then they both cannot use this wall in between. Wall or pillar or whatever it is, whatever the scenario is. And Shmuel says, no, whichever one has easier access, so then they can get it. So we had said that if you have access to it from above, so that's easier for you to access. If you have access from below, then that's harder to access. So the yard that's always on top is always going to get it. So we were trying to prove back and forth from different cases, Rav and Shmuel, what to prove Rav's case and to prove Shmuel's case. Yeah, and then we had that strange case with the 2 porches next to each other, and they're really one on top of the other, and then you have to throw the bucket up and then down and then around, and so that's all. So on the bottom line of Pei Dalet Amud Beis. So Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Yeah. Now we have to pay attention here to.
Didn't we stop by Maskevla? I thought.
No, we finished with Maskevla because Maskevla was disproving. Yeah, that was we said that we talking about putting the hats and the sweater, the hats and the. It's going to come up tonight though, so you're right. Okay, so we should really just chazer. It's a Republic brought a case that maybe when you have the ladders going up to the 2nd floor, maybe that yard with the reshus harabim next to it is people from the reshus harabim would put their hats down on it or their scarves. Right, so maybe that was considered accessible to reshus harabim. We'll get back to this later on the daf. So okay, so Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. So now here it's important to know for the Gemara that here it's Rabbi Yehuda saying this halacha over b'shem Shmuel, right? Because the Gemara is going to seem to have a girsa later that they didn't know Rabbi Yehuda was saying this din over in the name of Shmuel. It was just seemingly Omer Rabbi Yehuda. But here our Gemara is clearly saying it's Rabbi Yehuda saying in the name of Shmuel. Okay, bar, if you have a bar, shebein shtei chatzeros. So you have 2 yards. Again, it seems like another case of like Venice, right? Where the people's houses opened up straight, their windows, mamish opened straight open to water. Well, this one not necessarily because it's a bar, but in the middle, basically you have 2 yards that open up into a street, but there's no access. There's no human access to the street, but there's a bar there in the middle. So bar shebein shtei chatzeres. Mufleges mikozel ze arba umikozel ze arba. This bar, actually, this is not Venice, because Venice, the water goes up to the walls, right? This one here, there's a space of ground in between the bar and the walls by 4 tfachim, right? But the main point is that there's no access by foot to this bar. So the only way to get to the bar is they throw a bucket out of the window, and they have to get it. They have to be good basketball players in order to get it into this bar. Right, so bar shebein shtei chatzeres. You have a bar that's in between 2 chatzeres. Mufleges mikozel ze arba or mikozel ze arba. Right, it's separated from this wall by 4 tfachim, and from this wall by 4 tfachim. Yeah. So now zem moitzi. So now what? Now again, both of these houses did not make an eruv with each other to be able to share the access to this bar. Meaning each house they didn't make an eruv. Right. Yeah. So now, why does it have to be 4 tfachim away? Why does that have to be the case? Right? So Rashi says the reason why it has to be the case, because if it's closer than 4 tfachim, then that is easy access. And if both houses have easy access and they didn't make an eruv, then for sure both of them are going to be awesome. The only reason why maybe it's going to be mutter for one of them is because they don't have easy access to this bar. Okay? So then what do you have to do? So zem moitzi ziz kol shehu memalev, zem moitzi ziz kol shehu memalev. What you have to do is you have to put out a little bit of a platform and then fill it up, and then you have to take out another platform from either side, and you could use it to fill it up. Yeah. I'm just looking for the picture of this one. Where is it? Did he post a picture of this? No, these are all the next.
Yeah, it's the second one. It's the second one.
Thank you. Yeah, this one right here. Anybody? Right. So you got the bar in the middle there, and you have 4 tfachim from each yard. Right. So in order to be able to carry, so he says you got to stick out a piece of wood over there in order to, right? You got to put a piece of wood out in order to. Now, what's a pshat in that wood? Right? That's only for a hecker. It's just to make a hecker. That's what Rashi says. Yeah, so because really, what?
Why is that a hecker?
It's just something to put there in order to remind you that really they didn't make an eruv, and they're allowing it anyway, since there's right. Because there's no foot access to this, right? That's the main point of here. The only way to access it is through the air, right? That's why you see there's no entrance in the picture. There's no entrance into this. I don't know who built this and how they built this and why they would have built this, right? But there's no access to this thing by foot. So since the main chiddush of the Gemara, which we're going to see as we continue, is that since there's no access by foot and the only access is by air, therefore they don't make each other usher. And since, meaning they didn't make an eruv with each other, it's a non-issue because it's not accessible by foot. It's only accessible through air. Okay, so then why do you need the ziz for? Right? Just fill it up. Just throw your bucket in there and fill it up. Answer is it's just a hecker that in other situations if you did have access to it, then you would not be able to use the eruv. They would not be able to use the water because there's no eruv.
Why is it 4 tfachim?
4 tfachim makes it that it's not easily accessible anymore. Right? That's why it's not easily accessible. If it's easily accessible to one and not to the other, then that's the one that's going to get. Meaning, let's say the bar is moved over to the left, and it's 2 tfachim from one wall and 6 from the other. Then the guy from the 2 tfachim is going to be able to use the water, and the other guy not, because he has the easier access. So we have to put it into the middle, where neither one has good access to it, and therefore you're allowed to fill it up. Rabbi Yehuda Didei Omar. So this is an important point here. Rabbi Yehuda Didei Omar. Rabbi Yehuda himself said, "Afilu kanya." You don't even need a piece of wood that size. You could just use a kanya, a reed, right? Just a reed is enough to make a hecker. Since this whole thing is just about hecker, it's not about halacha. I mean, it's obviously. It ends up being halacha, but it's not. It's just about being makirit. So Rabbi Yehuda says that's enough. But you see, it says Rabbi Yehuda didei Amar. So meaning this till here was Rabbi Yehuda saying in the name of Shmuel. And now he's saying Rabbi Yehuda himself disagrees with the one point that says that you need to use like a piece of wood coming out, and all you need is a reed. Okay, so I'm
Yaakov, so what these people, this is the same story you said yesterday. They forgot to make an error, but they built this wood from both sides with a metal, with a house,
right.
Like they put up a sukkah.
Right. And this whole thing, and then they forgot to make the eruv. Or they forgot to make the eruv, and then they put up the wood, which either way, but that's point is that they did not have an eruv for this. Yeah. What are you saying, Zev?
Rabbi Huda's arguing?
He's saying, well, he's arguing, he's saying it can be even a reed. It does not have to be necessarily something that big, such a big piece of wood like that. It could just be a reed. Right? But he's saying it on his own. Right? It's mashma till now. Who was he saying it from? From Shmuel. Right? Right? It's even a reed. So we'll get to that in a minute. So Amar le'abayla Rav Yosef, Hada Rav Yehuda de Shmuel he. Right? What Rabbi Yehuda said is Shmuel, the Rav, because if it's according to Rav, ha'amar ein adam oiser al chaveru derech avir. If it's going according to Rav, a person can't aser his friend through the air. Meaning, if you only have access to your friend's yard through the air, then according to Rav, there's no iser. But Shmuel must hold that it is aser. Now, what is going on here? Right? What do you mean? Amar le Rabbi Yosef Hadar Rav Yehuda is Shmuel. He said it in the name of Shmuel. Right? He says Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Right? What is Abaye telling Rabbi Yosef? By the way, there's another case. Half of Eruvin, I don't know, half. So much of it is Abaye with Rabbi Yosef. Right? But here, I guess he didn't have to remind. This must be after Rabbi Yosef got better already. But anyways, Abaye is telling, or maybe not. Maybe this is Abaye reminding him. Hadar Rav Yehuda the Shmuel. It's Shmuel. That means that Abaye's girsa of the Gemara must be that Rabbi Yehuda was saying it independently, which the Gemara is going to change to and say that's not. Meaning, so again, he's asking according to a girsa that we don't have in our Gemara. That's what he's saying. Must be that it's Shmuel, because according to Rav, a person does not aser through the air. U'de Shmuel, so then the Gemara says, U'de Shmuel mehecha. And how do you know that Shmuel holds that a person can make it aser in the air? If you say it's from the din that Rav Nachman says in the name of Shmuel, Gaga, harabim, which was yesterday's case. A roof that's close to reshus harabim, tzarich sulam kavua la'atiroi, needs a set ladder to be materit, not a what do you call it? Not a. Was this the one, David? The one you posted, was that? Yeah. We'll use yours. Well, that's really Taisus. Hold on. I just want to make sure we get the picture straight because it's part of this Gemara. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, this one. This case, this one right here, it was posted yesterday by Yuri. Yeah, so you see you have reshus harabim, right? Then you have that little porch off reshus harabim, right? 10 tefachim wall, and then another upstairs with a set ladder, right? So the question is, that mirpeset there, that little porch, right? Is that porch, what's the deal that with carrying it to that porch? Does that porch belong to reshus harabim? Does that porch belong to reshus hayachid? So we're saying that if that ladder is a set ladder and it's always there, so then there's access from the aliyah straight to that little porch. But if that ladder is not always there, so then it takes away from the access of the porch, because if the ladder is not there, the guy's not going to get out of the second floor. So anyway, so we're saying that you need a sulam kavua latira, right? So therefore what? So if it has a sulam kavua, right? That means the reshus harabim is not going up to the house. Yeah. So all they do is they can use it by throwing things, right? They can use it by throwing things. So you see clearly, and he holds you need a ladder that's kavua. So therefore, Therefore, you see that throwing things is considered access, right? And therefore, we're going to need a ladder that's kavua. But then the Gemara answers, maybe that's not a proof. Dilma kid Rapapa. Maybe it's like Rapapa, which what does Rapapa say? Maybe the Rabbim uses that not for air. Maybe the Rabbim puts down on that little porch, right? Maybe the Rabbim uses that porch right there to put down their hats and their scarves. You know, it's a hot day or whatever it is, or it's a windy day, it's more like it, right? And they put down their hats or their scarves and they actually use it. Meaning in the Havamina, we're thinking that the only way they can use the reshus Rabbim, can access it, is by throwing things into the upper houses, right? But now we're saying, according to Rappa, we said no, maybe they use it to put they physically use it to put down their hats.
Are we talking about the marpeset or the actual roof? Because who cares about the marpeset? If they don't touch the roof, it's not. Are we talking about when you say that they're going to use the whatever it is to put their hats? Are we talking about putting their hats on the roof or putting their hats on the marpeset? I thought we said earlier that it had to do with the roof. Well, if they put their hats on the marpeset, who cares about the marpeset? We're talking about the roof here. And
well,
whether the roof is considered,
how they getting it?
They take them. I don't know, but I don't think. Who cares if they put their hats in the marpeset?
I'm saying, but how are they putting their hats down? See, that's the thing. That's a big hawk. See that the picture that David posted also that's Tosfos, is that he said Tosfos is saying that you put it on the roof, right? Meaning it's on the street from the other side. So it's like mamish, like in Eretz Yisrael, like in Har Nof. You know, the street opens to the roof on one side and to the street on the other side, right? Right. I'm saying whatever. It's down a flight. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so you're saying that maybe that's what it is.
The only reason I'm asking this because the marpeset itself, if they're just using the marpeset, why should that affect the roof? Let them use the marpeset and move on. If that's all they could reach, why does it matter? Why does that affect the roof?
You're right. No, I think
the roof
you're
should
right.
not be reshus Rabbim then.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're using the roof. It's more the roof than it is the marpeset. But then why do you need the marpeset there at all?
I'm not sure.
Why is that? Right? That's the confusing part. I mean, that's one of the confusing parts of this whole thing. So what's the marpeset there for? What does that have to do with anything? But you're right. No, they're going to put it down on top of the roof. So then it has to be like that picture where they're accessing the roof from the other side. Yeah. Okay, whatever it is, we thought we can bring a proof that the only way to get the stuff up to the roof is by throwing things. And I was saying, no, maybe like Rapapa, that you can put down the hats. So therefore, we don't have any proof that Shmuel says that access only through the air doesn't work. Hopefully, we'll get it a little clearer as we go along, but I don't know. Elameha. So then it's a different case. Zemoitzis is kolshu umamala, v'zemoitzis is kolshu umamala. Right? That was our Gemara. Taima, the Apik. That's only because they put out these, what do you call this? What was it?
Slats.
The what?
Ledge.
The ledge, thank you, right. That's the slats, a ledge. Haloi Afik, but if he didn't put out this ledge, so we're going to say that a person asks his friend derech avir. Now you realize what just went on in the Gemara? He just quoted the Gemara that he just said in the name of Shmuel. Oh, I mean, it almost sounds, it's so clear that there was a girsa issue here. And then Rashi discussed it. Basically, we had Rabbi Yehuda b'Shem Shmuel say this din about the slats, or what do you call it, the ledge, sticking it out with that bar in the middle. Then we said, must be it's going according to Shmuel that you need this ledge. They said, where do you know Shmuel from? So he tries to bring it from that case with the merpeset and the roof, right? Then we say, oh, we know where he says it in the case. And then he brings the case that Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, right? So clearly the Gemara didn't know that Rabbi Yehuda was saying this case over in the name of Shmuel. And then the Gemara realized that he must have been saying that whole case over in the name of Shmuel. And therefore, that's how we know that Shmuel says that airborne access is considered an access. I understand that it's complicated, but the main point to understand here is that if you can only access your friend's yard from the air and not on the ground, according to Shmuel, that's called access and you need an eruv. right? That's the basic thing. What would be a contemporary example of this? I'm not sure. Like if you can only access through your. I guess you have a
In Eretz
backyard.
Yisrael,
They're fenced.
you have a third floor marpeset, so two marpesets next to each other. There's air in between.
You mean can they throw things back and forth?
Yeah.
Truth is, on Amud Beis, the Gemara is going to bring that. Yeah, okay. Right, but it has to be the only way to access. You're right. So it's through the air, and the only way to access it is by throwing. Well, I mean, you could be standing there.
No, they don't touch. They're 10 feet away. There's another marpeset.
Yeah. Okay. But that's the main point that Shmuel holds, that access with air is going to require you to make an eruv. Rav is saying no. Rav is going to say no. Access through air is not considered access, and you don't need to make an eruv, which is what the Gemara is going to discuss now. Where does Rav get that from? Rav mehecha. Where do we know that Rav says that access through the air is not considered access? If you say from this case, if you have two porches, one above the other one, if you made a mechitza for the top porch, and you didn't make a mechitza for the bottom one, they're both asur until you make an eruv. Yeah. But this case again is not like yesterday where they were one above the other and they were not on top. Here they are on top of each other, right? So you make a mechitza for the upper one, and you don't make a mechitza for the bottom one, then they're both asur until you make an eruv, right? That's only if they're close to each other, right? Aval b'mufleges arba. I'm sorry, I said they're both on top of each other. They're not. It's the same place as before, that they're not on top of each other. That's what that's only if they're close to each other. But if they're more than 4 tfachim away, then then the upper porch is mutter and the bottom porch is asur. Right? Why? Because the bottom porch, how's he getting to, again with yesterday's pictures, how's he getting to the upper porch? He's got to throw it up and then it goes down through the hole, right? That's the only way to get in. That's more difficult. So only the upper one who just has to lower the bucket down into the water, so that's what's going to work. But again, you see that access through air doesn't help. Yeah? So that's what the Gemara answers. No, but Dilma, well, it's not it's an answer, but it's a question. Maybe it's not a raya, because Dilma Shani Hacha the Kivin Dilazeb Bezrika Vashilshul, one of them can do it by throwing it, right? And by lowering it, Ulazeb Bashilshul Lechudei. And this one, meaning the lower porch has to throw the bucket up to go to the next guy's porch and then down through the hole. Yeah? Should we bring up that picture again? I guess let's bring up that picture again. That's where was it? Here, this one. Right, this was the case again, right? This one, I by mistake said before that it's a different case than yesterday. No, that's a different case. This case is the same as yesterday. There's the lower one, the upper one. The only way to get it, the lower one, to get access to the water, because he didn't make a hole in his porch, right, is to throw the bucket up that way and then down, right? But the guy in this porch, all he has to do to access is down. So the access for the higher porch is clearly a lot easier than this one. So maybe the reason why, maybe the reason why the upper one is mutter and the lower one is asur is because it's easier for the upper one to get it, right? Because again, Dilma Shani Hacha the Kivin Dilazeb is Rika Bashilshul, since this one can only access it with throwing it and then lowering it, Ulazeb Bashilshul Lechudei, and this one only with lowering it. That's like one has throwing it and one actually has a doorway, which we said very clearly that when somebody has access by throwing and somebody has access by actually having a door, the one with the access to the door is going to get the dibs on the eruv if there was no eruv. right?
Didn't we say before Rav's din was true even by Shilshil and Zrika? Meaning, didn't we say Rav was Chelek and Shmuel and held that if one's Bizrika and one's Bishilshil, that it's still considered they're equal to it? And it's
You mean
not
this is
whichever one's whichever one's benachas, whichever one has a little easier. Rav is Chelek and Shmuel on that.
yes, that's true because there he would hold that both can't have it, right?
Right. So I'm saying, why would the Gemara assume that just because something's easier for one, it makes a difference?
No, because I think but here we're just trying to prove that throwing is putting
Rav
something
never
through
held
the
to
air.
that idea.
What? No,
Rav
throwing
never
is a
held
new
to
thing. Throwing is a new thing. We weren't discussing the throwing.
No, I thought we had one Lezeb Zrika and Lezeb Shilshil. Rav held that it didn't matter.
What?
Lezeb Zrika and Lezeb Shilshil. Rav was Chelek and Shmuel. No,
he was. Yes.
So Zrika does not matter to him, and Benah, something that's just because for one it's Benah, it's easier than the other. Rav didn't hold that was enough of a reason to give that person the Pesach. That it's Lezeb Pesach dummy.
Right. So Rashi in the long Rashi's here. He seems to be handling with that Shiloh. So it doesn't. Here we're just saying that maybe Rav would say differently than he said before in this situation because of the air. He's not saying for sure. We're just saying maybe Rav would disagree in this situation. That's what it seems. That's what it seems. It's complicated. It's complicated. But that's what I think. Ella, I mean that's what Rashi seems to say. But okay, so let's see. Ella meha. Well, it's a different case of Rav. Domer and Nachman. Meaning because the Gemara is ending off, we don't have a proof from that case, right? So it's debatable what Rav would say in that case. Even though before it was very clear, you're right, that he clearly says in that case that both of them can't use it. Ela meha. Domer Rav Nachman. Domer Rav Baravu. Amar Rav. Shnei batim. V'shalish churvas b'neim. Right. Another case not as complicated as before, but two houses. And there's 3 destroyed houses in between them. And there's no access to the 3 destroyed houses. Yeah? So the only way they could access it is through the air. Okay? 2 houses and 3 destroyed houses, one next to each other. So basically you had a row of 5 houses, 2 houses on each end, 3 houses in the middle. Each one can use the house next to them through throwing, because they could throw stuff into the yard. Nobody has access to the middle though, right? Usr, and the middle one's going to be usr because there was no eruv made. There's no eruv made. Yeah. So Yosef, So therefore, what? So there, when the pshat is you can't get to it because of meaning there's access only through the air, right? And it's also to carry there. Yeah. So then okay, let's see Vaita, and then we'll see Yosef Rabrana. Yeah. So then I'm explaining it all. Should we do this now? Hold on. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, right. Okay, right. This is Rav saying the din. So you see that Rav says the access. Meaning the point is, I just want to make it clear again. The point is that there's 2 houses that are occupied on the ends and 3 unoccupied, destroyed houses in the middle. There's no access from the houses on the end to the destroyed houses in the middle, except you can throw out of the window into each house. Oh, here's the picture of that, right? Here's that. This is that picture, right? There's houses on the end, and then there's 3 in the middle, and they could. How's that go? Right. Then they have windows that they can access. Right. So Rav is saying that the middle one is usr, but the 2 ends each house can use. Why should each house be able to use it? There's no eruv. There's no eruv there. So the Rav is Elamai. Rav doesn't care about airborne access. The only way to access it is through the air, through the window. So Rav clearly doesn't care about it. That's why he allows the two end churvas to be used. Fine. So we have a similar Gemara that we just had a couple days, maybe it's a week or two ago. Yosef Rav Bruna v'ka'amar lahashmaitzu. He said over this thing, B'Shem Rav, Amar le Rebbe Lazar, Barbe Rav, Barbe Rav, Amar Rav Hachi, right? Young Talmud Chacham, yeah, Barbe Rav. That's what that means. Did Rav say this? Amar le in. He said, yeah, he said it. Achli li yashpiza. Show me his house, right? We had this a couple weeks ago, and I think it was with the Shmuel, if I remember correct. This is with Rav. So they both, I guess, were visiting, what do you call those guys? Scholar residents, maybe. Right? Did he say this over? Say, okay, where is he living? So show him his house. Achvile, he showed it to him. Rav. He came in front of Rav. Amar le, Amar Mar Hachi. Did Mar say this? Amar le in. He said, yes, he did. Amar le v'amar hu d'amar lezeb b'shil shel lezeb b'zuka shneim asurim. Right? If you have access, I don't know, Akiva, is this what you were asking? But v'amar, you're the one that said if one lowers it and one can throw it, they're both asur. Right? And here's the same thing. So Amrale, so he answered it back. Nisavras the kaimik shura, loy the kaimik chatzu. But we have it all wrong. And this, I don't know how well your Gemaras have this chart, but here at least the Gemara gives us a chart. It's not shot that there's 3 churvas in a row. It's 2 churvas and then 1 churva. So see it, there's a bias on one end, a bias on the other end, and then there's a churva, 2 churvas right next to each other, and then there's a churva at the end.
article has a very good picture of it.
Yeah. How about the pictures that so let's post this one. I don't know what you see. It's instead of 3 churvas in a row, it's 2 and then 1. Right? So
didn't we have a case of a few weeks ago like this? We thought it was 3 reshus hayachids in a row, or 3 reshus, and then it really wasn't. It was 2 and 1. There was a case. There was a map in Rashi also a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, but I'm not clearly remembering it better than me.
Okay.
Yeah, so meaning, so pshat is, so why does this change anything? Because the one is behind, so therefore you can get to it from both yards. Yeah. Since they're within 4 tvachim, so therefore it's gonna be that's why it's awesome. Yeah. But only one is awesome, the other 2 are mutter. So then Amalei Papa the Rava, Lema Shmuel less later of Dimi. Let's say Shmuel does not hold the Rav Dimi. Again, Shmuel who holds that air access is a problem. The Chiyasa Rav Dimi, Amar Rav Yochanan, this at least we had a few times before. Mokum Shein by Dalet al Dalet. If you have a pillar that doesn't have 4x4, so mutter livnei reshus harabim, livnei reshus hayochid, livkasev, and it's mutter for reshus harabim and the reshus hayochid to rest things down on this pillar. As long as they don't swap it, right? Remember, this is the case of a pillar, like a fire hydrant. Well, a fire hydrant is too small. Putting down something on top of a mailbox, right? So we said, Rav Dimi said that you can, a mokum that doesn't have dalet al dalet, so it's not its own reshus. So you can put things down, whether you're in reshus harabim or reshus hayachid, put it down, but as long as you don't swap, because if you swap, you're going to end up carrying something reshus harabim, reshus hayachid, whatever it is. But that's also air access. So then we say hasam reshuyas daraisa. There, that's reshuyas daraisa. So therefore, they're afraid. Yeah. Hacha reshuyas derabanan. But here we're not talking about here from yards to yards. We're talking about reshuyas derabanan. The Chachamim also chizik l'divrayim yosef mishel Torah, and the Chachamim made a chizik to their words more than shel Torah. So that's why they said that you should put the slats in there. Right? That's why Shmuel says that even though it's a derabanan, you got to put something there to remind you that there's no eruv here and there's a special heter. But if it would be for the deraisa derabanan, then we're not so scared. Fine. So Amar Ravina the Rava, me Amar Rav Hachi. Did Rav really say this? That access by the air is nothing. If you have 2 houses on 2 sides, which is harabim, Rav Ravuna Amar Rav also lizrek mizalazeh. You're not allowed to throw from one to the other. Shmuel Amar Mutter lizrek mizalazeh. Shmuel says you are allowed to throw from one to the other. Right? This is the classic case, right? I mean, the example I use is my mother's house to Yeshifarak's porch. So if you don't use the eruv and you want to get something across the street to Yeshifarak, we say, can you throw something from her porch all the way through the air and hopefully land it on Yeshifarak? Right? So we're saying here that it's a machlokes. Rav says you're not allowed to. And Shmuel says you are allowed to. Now, according to Rav, who doesn't care about airborne things, airborne access, why can't you? So Amalei, Lav mi ukimna de midli chad mutasi chad. This we had this way back in Shabbos. We're talking about where Rav is answering it is where one porch is this high, one porch is this high. They're not on the same level. One is here, one is here. So we're afraid, Zimnin de Migdar, Benaf of Asil Asui, we're afraid that since the porches are not even, you're not going to make a good throw, and then it's going to fall on the ground, and you're going to run downstairs, grab it off the floor, carry it in. Therefore, we have a special gezerah in that case, right? So there, but if enochanami, if it would be two porches, one next to the other on the same level, then it would be fine.
So then we have that in Shabbos. You had the Akira, Anacha.
Yeah, but this is exactly that's what I'm saying.
So
way
why is
back.
this any different? Why would this be okay? You
What
said
do
it.
you mean?
You said it was okay. It was not okay. What?
No, because it's not landing in the reshus. But you're going from one porch to the other porch.
That's what I'm
We're
saying.
Right, but if the porches are not even, then we're afraid that your throw is not going to make it to the porch, and you're going to run downstairs and pick it up.
Gotcha. I'm sorry. Okay.
Throwing the bucket through a hole, through that you're going to be able to do, but this you might not.
Well, there you're going to end up in the water, so maybe there's no chashash that you're going to go swimming.
One is Sam Darnold's playing, and one is Patrick Mahomes is throwing.
Thank you for the clarification. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Why isn't this a kasha on Shmuel also? The Gemara just asked us a kasha on Rav. It's Shitas Mukhlafes here. Rav says it's Asr, Shmuel says it's Mutter. It should be completely the other way around. Rav should say Mutter, Shmuel should say Asr.
You mean, why is the Gemara only saying that it's a kasha on Rav?
The kasha on Shmuel also.
Maybe because we didn't have a proof from other place to Shmuel. We just had the memory from Rabbi Yehuda. Meaning Rav, we had a proof that Rav's okay. I get no. You're right. It depends if you go with our
I just saw Tyson right? In the middle of Umiyam Rava. He says, "With the Shmuel, they must be lemifrich."
Oh, very good. Very good. Very good. I thought you were going to ask something else. Why doesn't Gemara just answer? Okay, switch the shitas, right? Right? Okay, I don't know.
I'm not parrots. I'm surprised parrots didn't do
that. Right. Anyways, I guess no. Your kasha answers it. The Taisus, meaning it didn't ask it that way, so it can't say switch the shitas, right? But okay. Anyway,
I say that when it comes to reshus harabim, reshus hayachid, just switch it around, dude.
Yeah. Parrots, you can be a local Orthodox rabbi with that. Anyways, okay, so that's the hard part of the daf. Now we get into a little bit easier. So Zok the Mishnah. So Anoisen is Eruvin. Now we're back to where do you put the eruv? So Anoisen is Eruvin bebeis shar. I'm sorry. If you put a eruv into the gate, to the gatehouse, meaning that's a room that you access. It's meant as a hallway. I guess a hallway would be a good translation for that. Achsadra, or an open area. Who were pesed on a porch, ain't no eruv. So then that's not an eruv. Okay, meaning you're not allowed to put it there. Meaning the eruv chatzeros, where everybody has to put their matzah and bread together. If you leave it in any one of these three places, it's not an eruv because that's not considered a place to live, and it has to be put in a place that you live. And let's say somebody happens to live in these three places, he doesn't make it asr, meaning if he doesn't participate in the eruv and he doesn't give bread, he's not going to make it asr. Because it's not considered that him living in a regular place. Beis HaTeven, Beis HaBakar, Beis HaEitzim. But if it's a house of grain and a house of bakar, right, of cattle, right, or Beis Ha'etzim in a woodshed, or Beis Ha'etzus, or a place, or Stama, a storage. Harei eruv, that is an eruv. Why? Because somebody could theoretically live there. V'adar sham asur, and the one that lives there is asur. This next line, actually, I had somebody ask this to me today. Rav Yehuda Omer, im yesh sham tfisas yad shel balabayis eino asur. This is a very important yesod if anybody goes away to a hotel for Shabbos. Right? We'll discuss it more tomorrow, as Hashem, but Rabbi Yehuda says if there's tfisas yad, the balabayis has tfisas yad, then nothing's asur. Meaning, you have an apartment building, right, owned by a frum landlord, right, and you want to make an eruv with the whole apartment building. Now, landlords, if he has a tfisas yad in there, which means he has access, right, meaning he has something, that doesn't mean access, I'm sorry, that's part of the tumult, right? It means that he has
the refrigerator. No.
Correct. So that's what we right. If he has his belongings in each apartment, then you don't need to make an eruv at all because it's all considered his, even though everybody's paying rent. Meaning, so the standard landlord, right, has a refrigerator, an oven that belongs to the landlord, right? Obviously, it's not going to work in a co-op, right? But it belongs to a landlord. So you would not be mechuyev to make an eruv chatzeres according to this, if as long as he has a tfisas yad. And that's what the Rabbi Yehuda is saying. It doesn't make it asur. Now there are those that say, I think it's a chazanish if I remember correct. I have to double check before tomorrow. That's only if he lives on premises. If he doesn't live on premises, the chazanish says that doesn't work. How can you say everybody's part of one big chutzner? Because this guy has a tfisas yad and this guy lives in Florida, right? He's got to be living in the apartment building also, and then this works. Okay, but that's an important. So then the question is by hotels. So if you go away to a hotel, right, do you need to make an eruv chatzeres? If you have the boss has tfisas yad in every hotel room, right? He owns a lot. He owns the bed, even though you rented the room for Shabbos. He owns the beds. He owns the whatever that's in the. I would say the TV, but I don't know. You know what I mean?
And he stays there every week.
No, so that's the question. Are we makel like the Shitas that hold that he doesn't have to be living there?
So Yaakov, today it's not so gay with all the franchises and they all corporately owned.
Right. So then the question is, does the manager take over for the because he's running it on behalf of the owner? And then the question is, does the manager live there? Okay, well,
Yaakov, don't you? I mean, when he rents it to you, be a site, he owns it. I'm saying, is it more than that he lives there, or because every single time he rents to you, like whenever somebody rents something to you, it's like almost like they're giving you guf l'pereisa, right? They're giving you the house for its payers to be able to live there, but he Batsum still owns the guf.
So
he always owns the guf. It's always true.
The problem is though that he's renting it out, so the chayre it's his.
But he still owns it.
And he
didn't give you the whole house.
That's what he's saying.
No, I'm saying, but that's right. So I'm saying that's always true. It's always going to be a problem, no matter how much he rents to you. He doesn't have to live there for it to be a problem.
No, so that the question is he considered part of your chutzner? Does he have to be in that?
Because
chutzner?
he doesn't. Meaning, does he have to live there?
Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise, how can you say everybody's part of his bias when he doesn't even live there himself? Right? Okay, but that's not the main point. The main point, we'll get to this. The sugya is going to be more in the Gemara tomorrow. But that's just where this whole sugya starts, from this line in the Mishna. Okay, let's see the Gemara. Some review the Breder of Shmuel Bar Shelas.
One second. Last week you mentioned my house. I made it. No, I made it an eruv. This eruv chatzeres. But this would say I wouldn't. I'm living there. I own the fridges in the tenants' apartments.
No, I mean just with the people in your house.
Right, in my house. We were saying in the hallway in my house.
Right, so you live there and they rent. Yeah, according to this, 100%. That's true. According to this, you would not have to not have to make an eruv because you're all living in the same house, right. and you own the refrigerators or whatever it is. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. So Amar Rav Yehuda Zakti Gemara. Amar Rav Yehuda Breder Rav Shmuel Bar Shelas. Kamakum Shamru Hadar Sham Eina Oyser. Any place that it says if somebody lives in the eruv, but he's living in a place that's not considered livable, like in a hallway or the achsad or the merpeset, he doesn't aser. Hanoisen as eruv ain't eruv. So if you give him the eruv and you put it there, then it's not an eruv either. Right? Chutz mi beis shar the yachid, except if it's a hallway that belongs to a yachid, there you could put the eruv. Right? Meaning if only one family has access to that hallway, so even though it's considered a beis shar, but since only one family has it, then you could put the eruv there. Right? Yeah. So ein manichin by eruv, and anytime the Chacham said you can't leave an eruv there, manichin by shituf, but you are allowed to use the mavuos. There you're allowed to put it there. Chutz mi aver mavuos, except for the heir of the mavuos. Now, what does that mean? Meaning you can't leave it in the actual mavuos. Again, remember there's two steps. There's everybody in the yard has to give a matzah or whatever bread, and then every yard that opens up into a street has to give to that. So we're saying that you could leave the eruv chatzeros in one person's house or beis shar. You cannot just leave the Shitufei mavuos sitting in the street. That's not going to work, right? So my kamashmalon, what are you teaching us? Tanina, we learned this already. If you put it in any of these three places, in a hallway or an achsad or a pes, it's not an eruv. Eruv hu deloi, hosh deloi havi, and eruv is not hoshituf havi, but a Shitufei mavuos that it is. So what are you telling us? So my answer is beis shar to yachid v'aver the mavi yitzrich alei deloi tanan. No, he's teaching you that if it's a hallway that belongs to a yachid, or if it's the avir of the mavi, to leave it in the mavi, that was not taught in the Mishna, so therefore that's his chiddush. Said Tani Nami Hachi Anoisen is eruv beis shar achsad and repeses uva chatzer uva mavi, and you leave it in the chatzer or in the mavi, you raise the eruv. Then we'd say that's a eruv. So avatanan ain't a eruv. Well, we just said it's not an eruv. How can you say it's an eruv if you leave it in the beis shar achsad and repeses? So when it says ema hareza shituf, no, it works for Shitufei mavuos. It's not eruv chatzeros. So Gemara says shituf mavi loy mintar. It's not going to be watched. You leave the eruv in the mavuos, right? It's a street essentially. It's not a reshus harabim, but it's a street. Somebody's going to end up eating it. So the Gemara says ema b'chatzer sheba mavuos. You have to leave it in a chatzer that's part of the mavuos. Fine. So Amar Rav Shmuel b'nei chabur shayim mesubin. So now they have a bunch of. This is a makar for those erev Shabbos. What do you call it, Rabbaran? The Toyamel. What do they call? They call it Toyamels, but it's there's another, right? There's a name they have it.
Pre-game.
The pre-game. There you go, Nebuch. The pre-game, right? The pre-game. Okay, this is mamish. It's mashma right here that they had pre-game back then, right? Because look, Amar Rav Shmuel b'nei chabura shayim mesubin. They were all mesubin. They're eating together a meal. The kiddush aleim hayom, and then the day became kaddish on them. Right, that's also interesting lashon. The day became kaddish, sort of like the wife asks him, or the people ask, "What I stand? Where were you? I don't know. The day just became holy on me, just like all of a sudden it turned Shabbos. I got totally lost myself." Right, but that's what it's mashma. What are you saying, Paris?
The cop always comes out of nowhere.
Correct.
Why is that pregame? Why can't that be what you do instead of making early Shabbos? But they sat down for this.
Theoretically, I guess if you know, because we know this is before you're Makabel Shabbos. We're Makabel Shabbos, and then we eat the soup, then we daven Ma'ariv. It's different than this, right?
Okay.
So pas sha'ala shulchan saimchan aleim mishum eruv. So the bread that's on the table, they could use that bread as an eruv, right? Oh, they didn't make an eruv, meaning since they're all eating together anyways, so then that will be the eruv. I'm not sure what happens if somebody wasn't, let's say you had the fruma guy who wasn't part of this party. So how's he part
I guess
of it?
back then they didn't have that.
I guess so. I guess that's a good point. What are you saying, Parrots?
The not from a guy was the one not partaking.
I hear you mean because like this, all they have an eruv. So this is the way to make the eruv. That's what they do. They go tell their wives, "I'm going to make the eruv."
Yeah, at 1 o'clock, he's going to make the eruv, and he comes back at 7:30.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's the story where somebody once came, a wife once came here to sell the chametz, right? And she comes, she fills out the name and leaves. And when I was getting ready to leave, she says, "That's it." I said, "Well, my husband comes over here. Usually it's a half hour, an hour to sell the chametz, you know."
It's not, excuse me, parents, this is like you're telling your wife you go to Daf Yomi Eruvin in the old days, right?
Yeah. Anyways, so pasha ala shulchan, samchan aleim b'shum eruv. So the pas that's on the table, you samchan on eruv. Amri lo b'shum shituf. Some say no, it's Shitufei mavuos, not for the eruv. Some Arab of a loy pligi, and there's no machlok. It's common masubim b'bayis, common masubim b'chutz. There's no difference. If the meal was taking place in the yard, like Naftali's Shalom Zachar, right? So that's in the yard. So then it's a eruv chatzeres. Had he moved the Shalom Zachar out of that yard, like onto the street, then it would have been a Shitufei mavuos. It just depends on where the party is. So Amalei Abai l'Rabba Tanya the Messiah loch eruv chatzeres b'chatzer v'Shitufei mavuos b'mavoi. Eruv chatzeres is in the chatzer. Shitufei mavuos is in the mavuos. Vavina by eruv chatzeres b'chatzer. Eruv chatzeres is in the chatzer. V'tanan anoisinis eruv b'bayit beis shar achsadr v'pezet einoi eruv. We said that if you put it in a beis shar or achsadr or a pezet, not an eruv. So we answer einoi eruv chatzeres b'bayis sheb'chatzer. When you're putting eruv chatzeres into a house that's in the chatzer, Shitufei mavuos is b'chatzer sheb'mavoi, and you're putting the Shitufei mavuos in a chatzer that's in a mavoi. Meaning each one has its own level. You got to put the eruv chatzeres in a house that's in the chatzer, and you got to put the Shitufei mavuos in a chatzer that's in the house. Okay, I'm sorry if I wasn't so clear tonight. It's a hard daf. All right, okay.
The other Gemara is Ayin Dalet Amud Beis, where the Rashi has the similar picture.
Ayin Dalet Amud Beis. Wow, you found that? Very good. Okay, I'm going to check it out. Ayin Dalet Amud Beis.
You really don't even need.
What do you say, Naftali?
No, Paris was first. But
What
whatever.
The what?
Right. Really don't need an eruv in liners chutzner anyway. No, if it's called reshus hayachid.
No, they all have their own houses.
Yeah, but I mean, really, is it really their own houses? I'm saying.
What are you trying to say? It's own.
No, I'm saying in that situation. I'm saying in those chutzers, is it really considered?
What do you think? It belongs to Rabbi Bender? Is that what you're trying to say?
First of all, I didn't see you at the Shalom Zachar, and I'm surprised it wasn't at your house.
You were drunk already by the time I got there. You don't remember.
You know how hard it is to drink when it's so cold?
Somehow the Kiddush Hayom just made it on top of Naftali. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Didn't we have this Gemara like a couple of blot ago?
We had a Kiddush Hayom. We did have, yes.
But it's about pre-gaming also.
Yeah. Yeah, that was our, what was it? Where was it?
I'm good.
Where was it?
I have one more.
I ain't giving them a base. Yeah, 10 blot ago.
Where's Rabaran? I got him by one daf. He's Ayin Daled. I got him by Ayin Gimel.
There you go. Very good.
Always a competition with you, parrots.
There's
all right. Listen, he's been living at home for a week and a half.
I know.
You should know. I wanted to do a mail-in ballot. I thought about it.
Yeah. But
now I'm gonna go vote. No.
I hear. I hope it's gonna be empty because I hope a lot of people voted already. How's this shul thing doing? Are people going on this? What was the name? This vote?
Clavo?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have people tomorrow by the Young Israel and.
No, I'm saying, but have people put on there? How many people?
Yeah. People put on there. It's still not. Listen, again, election day is gonna put on a lot more people.
Aaron Kaplan Shul has the most.
What?
Yeah.
Young
They're
Israel
up to 1,700 people there now on Klal.
1,700 people already put on that they voted.
It's going to be much bigger, and they're also going to call people and tell people to go put their names on if they voted. There's going to be a big push tomorrow.
All right, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, but I heard they're ready. It's already flawed. They're already accepting. People are contesting the mail-in Klal votes. I'm kidding.
That's what the riots are for. It's because
I'm logging off. Okay.
Bye.
Good night, Chicago.
Parrots, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
You saw my picture?
Yeah, what was that? The boneless one?
That was the boneless ribeye.
So you bought it?
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
But what, you just made it during the week? Stamazoi?
No, for Shabbos. No, I sent you on Friday. It was Shabbos already by you, but I sent you on Friday.
I was high as a kite, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, I didn't.
On the
I thought they didn't give you the goods. I thought
at least you buy it for Shabbos. It doesn't cost you anything.
I actually, I told Tzviakov on Sunday morning on the morning call here that when I went into the store, I told the guy, and I told him, I said, you should know that you should tell your customers that if you sell them good stuff on Friday, it doesn't cost them anything. And I quoted
so
Tzviakov.
Byron Horowitz has a whole shita to that. It doesn't work. You can't just like buy a bottle of schnapps, have one drink, and then put it out during the week saying, "Ooh, it doesn't work like that."
No, this I got specifically for Shabbos. I stuck it. It was I kind of forgot it, but it worked out. I stuck it in the smoker for a couple hours at 275, and that was it.
And how'd it taste? It was good?
Amazing. Oh. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
You can tell the difference in meats, huh?
I could tell. I mean, it's a ribeye, so
One time I bought a ribeye from, also like the Uruguay. It's got no fat on it. So I took my own bacon that I make, my beef bacon, and I laid it on top just so the fat could drip in on it. Oh.
So I was very surprised because I got the Uruguay, I got the cheap one, the $9 a pound one, and I thought that it would dry out. It did not at all. It came out really, really good.
Yeah, no, but this one I had to add. You just took a look at it. It was just straight meat. No marbleization.
Oh no! So that it had. So it was a little bit marbled. There was just no fat around the outside.
Yeah.
It was totally trimmed up. But I put a probe in it. I set it to 135, and I pulled it as soon as it hit 135.
Did you ever make your own beef bacon?
No, because I can't get belly out here all the time. That's my problem. I shouldn't say that. I made it like 4 years ago on my old smoker. It was the only time that I actually made it, because one of the deliveries by accident, it got delivered by accident. And they couldn't find it. I think I told you this. They couldn't find anyone to buy it, and they sold it to me for like $1.50 a pound. So I had 2 full bellies that I made. It was good, but it was.
It's so fatty. I have no idea how people like it. My kid loves it. I don't know how people like it.
The stuff you sent me was unbelievable.
What? Oh, which one did I sent you first? The brisket. That was regular brisket.
No, you sent me bacon. Yeah, you sent me bacon.
Was it candied or was it regular?
You sent me regular.
Okay.
I made a second. I had 1 second cut sitting in the bottom of my freezer, and I did salt and pepper, and then I covered the whole second cut in brown sugar.
Okay.
And I smoked it like that, and that was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
No, so here, candied bacon. I'm not a big guy, but I'm telling you, my niece tried it, and she's a vegetarian.
By the way, we can make this into a cooking show. I mean, I spaced out and realized everyone got off, and I'm listening. I'm playing with my phone, and I'm listening. I said we can get Martha Stewart and have a cooking show after that.
We could have the kosher. They have that. They have the skillet thing. No, what's it called?
Men on cooking. By the way, your brother reminded me of something. He said something to you about. Did I say my brother or your brother? Your brother.
You said my brother, but okay.
My brother. I meant your brother.
You said my brother.
I said my brother. I'm very tired. Something about you can ask something about it. What was the inside joke about asking a rabbi? You can be the rabbi.
Oh, I switched around. Reshus harabim, reshus hayachid. Gemara always a Gemara in Shabbos. So he says, okay, so Epuch, turn around machlekes. Just turn it around. If the shita, it's a stira. Okay, so switch it. That's been the ongoing daf. Every time we come up with a stira.
So what do I have to do with asking a rabbi?
Well, so I said, so you just change it from reshus harabim to reshus hayachid.
You're talking about Tzviakov said that you could be that parents could be a local
you could be like some of the local Orthodox rabbis. That the same thing, no. It's okay. We don't hold to this. We do hold to that. It's okay.
The Rabbi Canner and his charusa.
Whoa! I forgot.
Yeah, I was going to tell you.
Yeah, Korva.
What happened?
Mentioning